let's make this division. We're going to divide this trinomial by this binomial. Now we're going to set this up as we would typically set up division with numbers. We're going to write it like this: x plus 3 into x squared plus 11x plus 24. And now we'll start the division process. From what we did in the last section, the kind of intro to division, here's our process. We divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, right? We just keep doing this until we can't do it any longer. So when we divide, what we're going to do here is divide the first term into the first term, right? Just the first into the first. So what are we going to get here? X into x squared. Now just think of it as a removal process. You have two x's. You're going to remove one, so there's one left. So x will go into x squared, x times. All right, so now what we've done is this. We've done the divide. Right, we did the divide. X into x squared will go x times. Now the process says to multiply. So now we're going to multiply this x by every one of these terms. So just multiply it through. So we'll get x times x is the x squared, and then x times positive 3 is plus 3x. So let's do it. So x times x is x squared, and then, right here, plus 3x. Now we've done the divide and the multiply. Now comes the subtraction. So what we're going to do here is subtract. So I'm going to subtract this entire polynomial like this. But now, okay, I can do this on this iPad because I can make some changes. But here's what we do, right? We subtract this entire polynomial. So what do? How do you subtract this polynomial? You remove the parentheses and you change the sign of every term inside. So I'm going to remove the parentheses. Now it looks like this. I can erase, so I'm going to remove the parentheses, and change every sign inside. So it'll now look like this. That will become negative, and this plus sign will become positive. Now, that's really tricky to do when you're working with a pencil or a pen. So we're going to try something else here. Here's what we had. We did our multiplication. We multiplied. We got x squared plus 3x. And now what we were going to do was to subtract. So remember now, to subtract, we ended up with this. I'm going to write it right down here so you can see it. We ended up with this: negative x squared minus 3x. So what we did, we were going to subtract, but when you subtract, you change all these signs. So I'm going to indicate that I'm going to change those signs by just writing the change in sign, and I'm going to circle it just to indicate that I did that. Okay, let's do that once more. So I'm going to erase this. And what I'm going to do is start back where we were. I'm going to divide. Let's divide. So x into x squared is x. Now, multiply. So take the x, multiply it all the way through. You get x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. So now we're here. I'm going to get x squared plus 3x. And now what I'm going to do is subtract. So I'm going to subtract this. But how do you subtract this polynomial? Well, you just distribute that minus sign through there. Now that's hard to do with a pencil because it looks like a big mess. So what I do instead of writing the parentheses and then the minus, we just do this instead. So here's our x squared plus 3x, and then I know I'm going to change the sign. When I subtract, I change the sign of all these terms. Change the sign of these terms. So to indicate that, I'm just going to write this. I'll change the sign, and I'll put it in a circle so I know I've done it. All right, now let's continue the subtraction. So we get x squared minus x squared. That's gone. And then we get 11x minus 3x. Well, 11x's minus 3x is 8x's. Now that's the subtract. So what we've done is we've taken this polynomial here and subtracted this polynomial. We actually did it. And now bring down, that's the last part here, so bring down. So I'm going to bring down that plus 24. So divide. So x into 8x. So think of it as a removal process. I've got 8x, I'm going to remove an x, so I've just got left with a plus 8. Oh, let's do this. Plus 8, and there's my divide, and now I'm going to multiply, so start here, and multiply all the way through. 8 times x is 8x, 8 times 3 is 24, so we'll get 8x plus 24. There's the multiply. Now subtract. So to subtract, you change all these signs, and I put them in little circles to remind myself that I've done it. And now just continue with the subtraction by combining like terms. 8x minus 8x, 0. 24 minus 24 is 0. So we're just left with 0. So there's no remainder here. So this division leaves us with just x plus 8. So when I divide this polynomial by this one, I'm left with simply x plus 8. We're going to do a few more, not to worry.